I know I've been talking about the 3 roads that they had done that were having quality issues with. Lake Camelot Circle, 22nd Street, and Galahad Loop have serious cracks in them, and we had some pushback from Texas Materials. They hired their engineer, an engineering firm, to come and to review the specs and the contract. They could find nothing wrong with the specs, but they found one sentence in the contract to take exception to out of context, and they hung everything on that. They tried to get us to pay for them to redo their mistakes. They wanted to charge us $126,000. Our engineering firm had multiple civil engineers, all of them with PE at the end of their name. Multiple attorneys reviewed the technical specifications as well as the contract, and we're all in agreement that everything was the way that it should have been. Our house was in order. I sent that decision letter back to the 2 project managers at Texas Materials, as well as to the president of Texas Materials, and explained to them that all of the things that we had done, and that from my perspective, we could not pay for them to rework their mistakes, and that we rejected all 3 of those roads and expected to be able to move forward. I'm happy to report that we've come to an equitable solution, and we're moving forward. It's not going to cost us a dime. They are going to 22nd Street, they're going to apply a tack coat and 1.5-inch layer of type D asphalt across the whole length of the road. Lake Camelot Circle will be a full depth repair as detailed in the engineering specs from the get-go. So they're having to tear that whole road up and do it over again. It's a costly error. Galahad Loop, they're going to be performing full depth repairs on 2 different sections of that road, and once that's done, we should be able to accept them. I have detailed specs on what they're going to be doing for Camelot Circle, and Texas Materials has come full circle, and they are now anxious to get the job done the way that it should have been to begin with. I've resurrected the ground penetrating radar results for Galahad Dam. There are quite a few, what appears to be quite a few voids in the dam. We know, again, the area, but we don't know the volume of the voids. In the past, we hired a company to come in and do soundings. They would drill a hole and measure the depth, and talking to Epoxy Designs, the ones that put the 153 cubic yards of flowable grout into Charmaine Dam are just going to come and cut holes and take a peek inside and do a visual that way, rather than drilling a bunch of holes and sticking a piece of rebar down to see how deep they are. That should, it'll cost, but it should save us by not having to do the sound readings. And let's see, Ivanhoe Drive, the speed bump, and Mill Creek. Mill Creek, the Texas Materials is back on it. After the issues with the 3 roads that I mentioned with the cracking, they took it upon themselves to dig 3 or 4 6-foot holes until they hit water, and then they went back to the engineering company and said, okay, what do you want us to do? The engineering company gave them instructions on how to move forward. There were some things that they hadn't done right, and they're going to have to correct, and they're in the process of doing that. One was the berms on the side of the road The other was that they didn't put a crown in the road after they went through with the sub-base and cemented everything. So there may be some additional work there. But what we want to do is we want Mill Creek to be made passable before they start work on Ivanhoe Drive, so that there's another way out from the in and out of the city from that from Highway 69. Once Mill Creek is passable, we'll give them the green light to begin on Ivanhoe Drive. Ivanhoe Drive is to be built up to the level, probably at least 2 inches higher than what the speed bump is. And then it should be a lot, not as big a dip there, and there won't be water pooling on the road anymore when we get heavy rains. I spoke to Joe Blacksher, our county commissioner, last week. He's excited. He says that they are very, very near ready to begin. He thinks that the spring of this year that they'll be able to break ground at Camelot and repave Ivanhoe Drive from Camelot to Charmaine Drive East. All of Ivanhoe Drive, both what we're going to be doing with Texas Materials and what our county commissioner is going to be doing, is going to be with Class D asphalt, the same stuff that's used on the highways. We found some extra funds in one of the other roads that we'll be able to use those funds to tie on to Charmaine Drive East and continue on towards Chanticleer. It would be my desire to make it all the way to Chanticleer, but I don't think we're going to make it. We'll do the best we can. So that's all I've got for that at this point. Chief, you've got the floor now, sir. Nothing. Did you get Raymond?
All right, good evening, council, mayor. For the month we had
Speak up, sir.
What's that?
Please speak up. We don't have the.
We had 38 calls
Thank
for
you.
service, 42 traffic stops, 17 citations, and 25 warnings. We had 1 arrest. We had 4 agency assists. Remember that the speed limit is 30 miles per hour on the main streets, 25 on the other side streets, and then 20 crossing the dam. Watch your animals. Also, as we're starting to warm up, snakes are moving. Be careful of any snakes out in the yard. And also a reminder that Facebook and social media is not where we take our calls for service. We see a lot of things posted on there. If you actually need to report something, it needs to contact through the Tidal County Sheriff's Office or through City Hall. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Good job. Mr. Marshall, please.
Okay. Good evening. For February, we took in 24 work orders. 21 of those are complete. 3 are still in progress. That included 6 pothole calls, 10 grading calls, 3 culvert evals, 4 culvert installs, and 1 culvert repair. Don't ask, but it was. In progress are 1 grading work order and 2 culvert installs left. That took 137.5 tons of number 2 limestone base out of our budget, 2.4 tons of the winter mix asphalt, 50 foot of 18-inch culverts, 40 foot of 15-inch culverts. So the guys were plenty busy. In addition to that, we also installed in February 36 feet of 24-inch culverts using 24 tons of limestone. That was the agreement we had with the contractor, the final culvert there. It was their culvert, it was their material. All we did was furnish the labor to save the city some money. Uh,
Are you through with the culverts for Texas Materials?
Unless a new one pops up where maybe the engineers didn't find, maybe we didn't find, maybe the contractors didn't find. We've had a couple of those come up.
So that was 70 culverts in how many locations?
I'd have to count them. I'd
40?
I'd have to take my shoes off to count them. So. It was a bunch.
The point is, you saved the city roughly $2 million in installation charges or cost had Texas Materials done that work,
Right, right. Or,
So-
or their sub, yeah.
or their sub, yes.
Yeah.
Good job.
I don't deserve the credit on that one, the guys.
Well, it wasn't for you.
Okay, good. Yeah, they busted their tails on that. They
Yes.
really worked hard.
Yes, sir.
March, just real quickly, March so far, we've taken in 7 work orders. 5 of those are complete, 2 are pending. With the ones left over from last month and what we've got pending this month, we're sitting on a total of 5 outstanding work orders that we have not done yet. So we're in good shape. We're in good shape. Other than that, Lake Camelot, that dam is what you were talking about.
You want me to take it and run with it?
You've been more involved with the
Okay.
engineers than I have on that one.
So we've had the pre-bid meeting. We've opened the bids. We have a recommendation that we'll be going over this evening and asking to approve the contractor so that we can have a pre-construction meeting. We opened the valve on Camelot Dam to get the lake down as far as we could because the work has to be done in the dry. And Lakey is the contractor that has been recommended. They'll probably breach the dam and take it down further. Randy and I and Dan King have been talking about how to save the fish. There may be pools of water out there where we don't have to or do anything to salvage the fish. If we try to do it, we may save some. There may be some or a large number that die. If we don't do anything, then they could all die. So we're trying to figure out how to capture those fish and get them out and put them into another lake. With the object is that once Camelot Dam is repaired or rebuilt, that we'll be able to restock it with other fish.
Right.
So Camelot will be a 2-lane road once this is all done, and it'll go from 22nd Street all the way around to Camelot Dam, all the way to the middle of Tristan Dam right now, but eventually it'll go all the way to the tree once the Tristan S-turn is straightened out some.
Yep.
So that's where we are.
Okay. And the rest of the dams, what I have to report moving into that is, at this point, other than what you've talked about earlier with some of the voids, we do our monthly inspections. We're in the middle of doing that, and that's pretty much just external, making sure that everything looks good from the outside.
And once we we have a meeting with Epoxy Designs next week.
For this one out here?
No, for Galahad.
Okay.
And then and this one as well, the
Okay.
5-foot void
Right.
that y'all discovered where that steel plate is.
Right.
And once we get a path forward with Epoxy Designs, we'll get Marsh Waterproofing to come out and caulk Galahad Dam. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to lower Lake Charmaine to get it down to where they can get the caulk that's needed at the base of the dam on Galahad on the Charmaine side.
Better now than the middle of summer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I guess the sooner the better.
Yeah. Other than that, that's all I have, unless y'all have any questions.
Okay,
We're good?
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Let me see here. Okay, item 4, planning and zoning. I'm nominating a lady named Diane Mosier to the P&Z Commission.
Rozier.
What? What?
Rozier, R.
What did I say?
Mosier.
Rozier,
Rozier.
with a R. Rozier. I'd I'd like a motion to nominate her or accept the nomination for her on Planning and Zoning Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second it.
Oh,
all in
wait, did you
favor?
say planning and zoning?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
welcome to the dark side.
Oh, she's not here.
5, Tyler County Appraisal District Board of Directors. We've been talking with Georgia Moncrief. She's a former appraiser for the Fort Bend County Appraisal District, and she's agreed to sit on the Tyler County Appraisal Board of Directors. She's a very sharp lady, she's numbers driven, and she understands the appraisal process. So I have a resolution 2025-5R. Be it resolved that the governing body of the city of Ivanhoe met the 20th day of March of this year, and among other business, the following had to wit. Whereas the 66th legislature of the state of Texas enacted SB 621, which provides that an appraisal district be established in each county. Whereas said legislature provides for the election of a board of directors for the appraisal district. Each governing body entitled to vote must vote by resolution and submit to the chief appraiser. Whereas this method of selecting board members was established by resolution and ordinance on September 5, 1979. Whereas on the 20th day of March 2025, the city of Ivanhoe did designate Georgia Moncrief as a nominee to the 8-member board of directors. I'd like a motion to accept Georgia Moncrief to the Tyler County Appraisal Board of Directors.
So moved.
I'll second it.
In favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Welcome to the dark side. Okay. In your packet, you'll find several papers, pages going over the bid process and those that submitted bids for Lake Camelot. The recommendation from LJA Engineering, after going and checking references, comparing numbers, the recommendation is that we move forward with Lakey Incorporated to do the dirt work on Lake Camelot. Mason Construction came in at $3.4 million. C.E. Barker Limited came in at $2.9 million. Triangle Civil Services came in at $2.6 million. Brystar Construction came in right at $2 million. Elite Contractors was disappointed. They came in at $1.9 million. Davis Construction came in at $1.8 million, and Lakey came in at $1.476 million.
Dang.
So the recommendation was, after checking all the references and resumes of Lakey Construction, the recommendation is to move forward with Lakey. I'd like a motion to accept Lakey as the contractor being awarded the Camelot bid.
So moved.
I'll second it.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Lakey's done. Let's see here. Okay, now on to item 7 on the agenda. Updated, or consider for discussion, the updated permit fees. We had an older gentleman, careful, that was our city inspector, our building inspector. He had to abruptly retire. He had heart issues. Haley went out and scoured the countryside and found 3 different building inspectors. We interviewed all 3 of them. The one that we chose lives close by. He lives just west of Woodville. He was in agreement with everything except in the new construction. First inspection was $125, second inspection was $150, and the third inspection was $250. He said that he had no issue with that except for the second inspection. He wanted $200 for that one because that inspection was detailed and it required him to have to dedicate 3 to 4 hours going through all the steps that he had to go through. So we're changing that to $200. Manufactured homes was changed from $250 to $125. That's because on new manufactured homes, when they get moved in, the state is notified. They have a registered agent. Wears a badge and everything that goes and inspects new manufactured homes when they're installed. He inspects for tie downs and underpinning. If there's no issue, no report is generated. The only time a report is generated is if there's some problem. We had been paying our inspector to go and do that work. We didn't know that we were stepping on the state's toes. So that's why the fee has been cut in half, because the only thing that we have to inspect now is water and electrical hookup. The only other change, there was one other change. That was patio covers and decks. That has been combined under one permit fee now, so there's no change in the dollars. They were just, we had 3 different line items with the same dollar amount. We just combined them into one. So having said all that, just to make it all nice and neat, I'd like a motion to accept the changes.
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
There are probably several outstanding people that have already paid the permit fees.
Mm-hmm.
Will they get grandfathered in, or are they going to?
Next question.
Oh,
What's done is done.
So what's done has been done. I mean, I don't know, there's no,
We're not gonna go back and charge them.
no, I mean, it's, the decks, patio covers and patios, that's no change.
right. No, I was just curious, because I believe there's like 3 or 4 of the new construction ones that are.
Okay, all right, I hear where you're going. So David, Artisan Brothers is building a house, a new house over on Charmaine Drive South. They wanted to do a slab inspection, or it was before they poured the concrete.
Foundation, yep.
Foundation inspection. In the middle of that, we got a call. They were anxious to get it done. They were quite upset that we didn't have a ready inspector. The inspections were originally $125. We found that one of the guys that we interviewed agreed to come and inspect it, but it was $325?
$350.
$350. I said, bring it on. They've already, the Artisan Brothers has already paid their $125. We will absorb the difference
Okay,
to get this over the hump.
okay.
And
I was
then-
just curious.
And we got them over the hump. We did the right thing and absorbed that and got them to be able to continue on with their
Yeah, it's a
job.
beautiful house.
So they found they had to move the forms 5 feet back after they had all set them all. So it was a good thing that we did do what we did in the manner that we did it. It was the right thing to do. So now the slab has been done, the house is dried in, and it's going to be beautiful. So all in favor?
Yeah,
Did already,
we need a motion.
we had a motion, didn't we?
No.
I have a motion.
I will make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Clean up.
I'm following the script.
That's why we keep you straight.
Okay, thank you. Number 8. We are going to have an Ivanhoe spring cleaning campaign. Local sanitation has graciously offered us a 20-yard roll-off 2 times a year for spring cleanup. I've spoken to Randy in reference to IPOIA. He said we could put a dumpster out here. I think that we're still wrestling with where to put the other one. But it's, 20 yards is not a lot, it's something, it's a start. And we're going to be moving forward with that. I jumped over planning and zoning. They had a note here from Carolyn. They've completed the first draft of the registration form for Airbnbs and Verbo homes. However, due to scheduling conflicts, they were unable to have a motion made on it at this time. They're still working on the ordinances to match the form. Ms. Williams, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. All of the financial documents and the bank statements were sent to council on March 14th, including the account financial reports and the reconciliation details for each account. The state comptroller direct deposited $7,112 on March 14th for sales and use taxes that were collected in January and reported to the comptroller in February. Last month, the sales tax deposit was $11,477. The February ad valorem taxes were received on March 13th, totaling $138,494, with $112,575 going to maintenance and operations, and $25,949 for the interest and sinking fund. We received a $50 payment for Ivanhoe North this month. The calculated balance of delinquent taxes stands at $348,842 as of February 28th, which is roughly where it's stood for probably a year now. Texas class interest rates remained around 4.2% through the end of February. There's nothing new to report with Citizens State Bank. After reviewing the totals for the various departments, budgets are correct, the bank statements have been reconciled, and I believe February financials can be approved.
Could I have a motion to approve February financials?
I'll approve.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Questions?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
February financials are approved. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
No executive.
No executive session, I don't think. That I know of. Council comments and executive
So
session.
if we can go back to the spring cleaning, is that for the community or is
Yes.
that for city use?
No, that's for the community.
Okay. And you said twice a year, right?
Yeah,
For spring cleaning?
two 20-yard roll-offs 2 times a year is the way the message came to me. I take that as 2 20-yard roll-offs that we can use. I'll clarify that with local sanitation.
Is there anything specific that cannot go into it?
You don't want household trash.
Nothing explosive, obviously, propane tanks, things like that, fire
Propane.
extinguishers,
Yeah.
nothing chemical. We would probably want a detailed list so that we know what best to communicate to the community when we let them know that that is available.
Yeah.
And if it's for spring cleaning, do we have to do it in the spring only?
Well, we can rent a dumpster anytime.
Sure.
And
But free.
you know
better.
what free is
Free's
good. What Joe McWhorter and I have talked about this at great length, and we're trying to take a different approach, a kinder, gentler approach. We're trying to help people rather than to,
Sure.
I don't want to say beat them down, but we're trying to make things easier in an effort to help people improve their
their personal situation as well as the community
Yes.
image.
Yes. So, yeah.
So since it is an agenda item, do we want to make it official with a motion second to say that it's officialized kind of thing? Or how do you want to approach that, Mr. Mayor?
I don't think we need a motion for that, for this. It's just,
It's not costing us
it's,
anything.
Especially if they're donating the use.
yeah, I mean, it's not costing us anything at this point.
Like I said, like you were saying, the clarification of what they really, what can go in there would be, we don't want to abuse the kindness of their generosity.
So when I rented a roll-off dumpster from them, they had no restrictions.
Oh, okay.
But I will get clarification on that
Okay.
from them, what's
Yeah, I wasn't
acceptable.
sure.
I'm sure they don't want hazardous materials.
Nope.
No, but shingles, they took shingles.
Yeah, no uranium-235.
No uranium, no, that's true. Are there any further discussion, any other business?
Do we have a particular week, dates,
No,
period?
that hasn't been set yet. We just rolled into spring. This is just, the ink's barely dry on the note.
Right.
So if you have suggestions in that regard, I'm open.
No, I was just wondering.
Do you have any suggestions on when to start?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
Well, let me back up. How long do we have the dumpsters until they're full, then they come pick them up?
Yeah,
Okay.
I really don't think it'll take long to fill them
Yeah.
up. 20 yards is not very, very big.
Right.
No, you put the word out into the community, I'll say it'll be filled a week or less.
So typically they charge $20 a cubic yard, so that 20-yard roll-off dumpster would cost us individually $400. So that's a very nice gesture on their
Yeah.
part.
Very-
Absolutely.
Very nice.
Okay, are we, motion to adjourn? Are we
So
done?
moved.
I'll make that motion. I'll second Justin's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are done. Thank y'all. Thank everybody for coming.
Justin Gregory, Jeff Vanderwall.
Happy I didn't know.
Yeah, everybody.